the Minnesota Wild podcast, presented by Acrisure.
Just looking at the game again, was it defensively what you thought it was, or are there going to be easy fixes and adjustments to try?
Yeah, I think it was, I think after the game and during the game, I think we probably all felt there was a lot of scattered things going on throughout the game, but I do think there's some things for us that we were a little out of sorts, I think, just in the details that we usually play with, and we need to make sure that we're on point with.
Is it in the D zone, or did things start in the neutral zone there?
I think it was a little bit, their D are good skaters and they're really active, right? So there's times where we got rolled off, like off the forecheck, that allowed them to get some rush play there. Those are some of the details I'm talking about, where they're a very good rush team. So you have to be on point with your details to try to do a better job of that. Normally we do that. Last night we were a little bit out of sorts in some of those details on it. Face-offs usually we're a strong face-off team. From the deadline on, we've been very good on face-offs, but we gave up two goals for sure off of lost face-offs that we weren't buttoned up on, right? So that's why I say, to me, there's things that are fixable. There's things that Colorado certainly challenges you to be good at. We weren't as good as we needed to be in some of those areas, but I do feel there was, going back through, like I said last night, I think there was five of the goals were things that we don't normally do.
Yeah. Do you, Wally, do you come back with him?
I haven't made any decisions on the lineup yet.
Okay. With how do you think he could, this is something we haven't seen him deal with before. It wasn't, as you said, all his fault, but the 7th and 8th goals are probably hard to stomach when you got back in the game. So how do you handle that in terms of, whether...
Well, I think there's things, I think there's things where, we put the goaltender in some tough positions as well. And, I think when you have good goaltending and you have a strong team in front of them, I think that's been a good combo for our goaltenders over the last couple of years. I think last night was a little bit of an anomaly. So, but it is playoffs. That was what the game presented last night, and we didn't handle it as well as we needed to. Whether, it was, I would say, completely as a team. I'm not worried about Wally. He's got a great track record. He's played really well. He's got playoff experience. He's got positive playoff experience. But I think in general, as we've talked about throughout these playoffs, that it's next game. You take the lessons out of it. Everyone has to reboot. We all have to be better. And we're planning on doing that tomorrow.
They're probably bracing for Kirill and Matt to capitalize. And on the flip side, how do you brace for, the McKinnons and the Nelsons and them to make their mark on the series?
Well, those guys made their mark last night, the Avalanche guys. So... And they did some good things. Credit to them. We weren't on point, and they were. And we didn't handle them as well as we need to.
It used to be. The game has changed so much. It used to be teams had to kind of fail at a certain level in the playoffs before they could win. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of guys who haven't been on this stage before, or haven't been here in a while. What do you like about your group that you think is going to not let them be overwhelmed, or not let them sort of succumb to the newness of playing in the second round?
Mm-hmm. I think it goes back to one. We do have a lot of guys with experience, and I think that certainly helps. We have a lot of veteran guys that have been through a lot of different experiences. That's one. I think the way that we handle our business, I think as a team in general, over the course of 82 games, of not getting too high, not getting too low, making sure that the results of a game don't overwhelm you. You don't underreact to it. You don't overreact to it. You just need to react the right way and respond to what was presented. And that's how we go about our business. So I think that's ingrained. That's a habit. That's how we do business as a team. And I think you always look at your experiences as well. We learned some good lessons in Game 2 of the Dallas series. We lost the game, but I'd say we took the lessons out of that, and it didn't happen again over the course of the series, and we got better and stronger, and the issues in that game were rectified, and that to me shows you where your team is at, and it's no different than last night.
Similarly, Game 1 of that series, you smoked them 6-1, and they responded. So is that a good lesson as well, that game one doesn't mean the end all in a playoff series.
Yeah, I think every game is it's always about the next one, and I think responding to those questions is that that's what you have to do is you got to take the game for what it was, and then you got to make sure you really learn from it. And we had a good discussion this morning, and we took some things out of it, and we'll be ready to go for game two.
How important is it still be aggressive offensively, even though they skate well, they transition well? You guys play a hard, heavy game in the offensive zone. You guys can defend by having the puck. How important is that still keeping that mindset, even though they can transition pretty well?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I mean, that's there's when you're not playing defense when you're on offense, right? So you want to make sure that offense wins games as well. So it's when you're in those situations that, and I thought at times we did a really good job of that last night.
The Middleton-Spurgeon pair had a rough night for them. What did you see overall from those two in terms of is that just the game the way it was versus kind of how they were playing?
Yeah, I think there was some. I don't think it was just those two. I think when you look at a pair, or sometimes you look at a line, it's all five guys that are on the ice together, and those two guys they're great defensemen. We know that they've been rock solid for us all the time, and they're no different than our team. That we've got to respond better in certain areas.
The way though that Middleton and Bogosian played against Dallas, I mean, do you have trust to put Damon up on the second pair if that continues to be an issue?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of how we go about business. Whether it's moving a D or trying a couple different things. Last night we were very good on faceoffs. Not some of the coverages on the goals, but I think when you look at faceoff percentage, but we didn't. It wasn't like we sometimes use centers in different situations on different lines. So it's always circumstantial. I know it always comes in of like you start the game and it's like, well, these are the lines and these are the D pairs. But sometimes you make a decision to play a player and say, okay, I think he's a really good fit, for a large majority of situations in the game, but there may be one or two where you're gonna flip a guy out and put him in there and put this guy with these guys. So it'd be no different with the D.
When it comes to face-off coverage, was it the example like the McCarr goal at the end, or was it the first goal maybe where you neutral zone draw, you lose it, then they go in transition? I think the guys were trying to find out who was supposed to take that trailer. Molinski's goal.
Yeah, that was one. I think there was a couple other, we just weren't on point in some of those situations.
In block shots or like there was a couple of the McCarr goals that you could have fronted that you didn't.
Yeah, there was a few like that, and so that's what I mean. Like it was a helter skelter, and so to me, when I always say I feel like our team, some of the things that we gave up are fixable. That's what I'm talking about. A lot of the things that you guys are asking is exactly what I mean. So.
Obviously, the bottom line's paramount, and you don't want to lose any playoff game. But in any kind of weird way, do you think the way you lost last night's game, the way you played, how open it was, the mistakes that you talked about, do you think that could be a good thing in sort of getting everyone's attention and making them realize what they're up against here?
Yeah, I do. I think it's... coming in, it's, I think Hughesy said it after the game. It's just like, you go in and you're so focused on one series, and when you get through that, by the time you get to what is it? It's 2 weeks worth of games and one opponent and one thing, and then you come in and you get a quick break and a turnaround. You can see it on video, right? But until you feel it and there's the speed, or there's okay, yes, this is a little bit different. And, Colorado did a good job of that. And we know they're a good team. But I do think that, feeling it, going through it, not on point, we didn't get away with not being as good as we need to be in certain areas last night. And that was the learning lesson.
Was today just a video?
For an extraordinary advantage in sports, you need a game plan. For an extraordinary advantage everywhere else, all you need is Acrisure. With a high-tech human approach to insurance, cybersecurity, and more, Acrisure helps you take care of what you care about. That makes winning easy. See what Acrisure's extraordinary advantage can do for you at Acrisure.com.